Continuing now with our lead story is the media reporting black-white crime accurately. Joining us now from Los Angeles, radio talk show host Tavis Smiley. All right, Tavis, you heard the talking points of Mr. West, and you say?
I say, first of all, that what's lacking in this conversation is an empathy and appreciation for the humanity of Trayvon Martin. I say what's missing in this conversation is the reality when you talk about these stats that most whites are killed by other whites, most blacks are killed by other blacks. That's the bottom line. I say what's missing in this conversation is the reality that in this country, sadly, the life of a black child does not have the same worth and value as the life of a white child. When Sandy Hook happened, the empathy and the appreciation and the reveling in the humanity of those children was present all over Fox News and every place else, as it should have been. African Americans are not seeing that same kind of empathy and appreciation for the humanity of Trayvon that they saw for the children of Sandy Hook. I'm waiting to hear, I haven't heard it yet, I'm waiting to hear the NRA say that if Trayvon Martin had had a gun, he might still be alive today. The bottom line is that race is still the most intractable issue in this country, and when an adult can profile and stalk and kill a child in America, our democracy is threatened. The bottom line is this, that if Trayvon Martin had been Mark Zuckerberg, the most well-known white guy in America who walks around with hoodies on every day, he wouldn't have been stalked, he wouldn't have been killed. And the bottom line further is that if Mr. Zimmerman, if Trayvon Martin rather, could get his life back as quickly as Zimmerman got his gun back, I'd feel a lot better.
All right. Now, I'm going to correct the record. I've been very empathetic to the Martin family, and you can check with Mr. Crump, their primary lawyer, on that. Number two, do you believe that the trial was fair? Did you see anything in the trial that was unfair?
I think the fact that Mr. Zimmerman is free today speaks to the fact.
You want to get specific, specifically in the trial.
I want it.
The way the evidence was presented, the way the state conducted the prosecution and the defense conducted what they did you see anything that was unfair?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So you didn't see anything unfair. I didn't see anything unfair. So we have to go by what the jury, and we assume that they're good, honest people, came to the conclusion. Now, let's advance the story. Yesterday on Good Morning America, you made a very provocative statement. Roll the tape.
I think this is, for many Americans, George, just another piece of evidence of the incontrovertible contempt that this nation often shows and displays for black men. Something is wrong when adults can racially profile children. Trayvon Martin was a child, racially profiled and gunned down.
Okay. Now, the words incontrovertible contempt, and you and I both agree that the trial was fair. I don't know where the contempt is coming from. And maybe in George Zimmerman's heart, he's contemptuous. Maybe. There's not any evidence of that. I mean, the FBI didn't find that. But where is the contempt coming from?
Let me define what I mean when I say the trial was fair. Under the rules that the jury was given, the evidence that the judge allowed in and not allowed in, and I can certainly debate you on what should have been in that wasn't allowed in, but under the rules they were told to make a decision by, the trial went along as it should have. Here's the problem. The problem is that in the state of Florida, this law itself, so you ask about the trial. Let me back up before the trial. It's the law that I have a problem with.
And
that's what
nobody
Attorney General Eric Holder was talking about today. George, no, people do have a beef on that. There are a lot of people who believe that Zimmerman had a right to stand his ground,
but
the reality is that Trayvon did not have a right to stand his ground, Bill.
That's up for the state of Florida to decide. The legislature and the governor, not you and me. We can oppose it. But you don't say. You made it. Wait, Tavis. You made it very, very personal. You said that America has contempt for black men. And they don't. America doesn't have contempt. That's wrong.
That's not true.
You can't back it up. You can't back it up.
I'll back it up right now. I've said already that black men so often are viewed in this country as a menace to society, number one. Number two, look at the criminalization, the over-criminalization of black boys in our education system, number two. Number three, look at the racist drug laws. You got to get caught with more crack than powder cocaine to get the same sentence. Look at the high unemployment numbers in this country with specific regard to African-American men. And finally, consider this, Bill. The only reason why this case even was brought in the first place, the only reason why it even came to trial is because there was a national hue and cry. If there were the value for black male life in America that there is for white male life in America, it wouldn't have required all that it took just to get this even, the charges even filed, the case even brought,
Look,
Bill.
I'm glad the case came to trial. I think the trial was fair, and all the points you raised are societal problems where there is another side. There's genocide going on in Chicago, and it's blacks killing blacks, okay? Whites have nothing to do with it. I don't believe that America has contempt for black men. I believe a lot of the problem is generated by the blacks themselves that won't solve the problems of their neighborhoods.
Bill, I just offered 5 reasons, 5 specific examples of how there is contempt still in this country for African American men. The bottom line is the same.
It's a problem-solving
Black
mechanism.
life does not have the same value as white life in America, and that's sad, Bill.
Well, I'm telling you, if you look at the people who are murdering, it isn't whites murdering blacks. It's blacks murdering blacks.
Bill, what are you not hearing? Blacks kill blacks.
Yeah.
Whites kill whites. Here's the bottom line. And they all do it with guns, and you ought to get on the right side of the gun control conversation.
Right. Gun control is not going to solve the issue. What will solve the issue is federalizing all gun crimes.
It will help.
No, it wouldn't. Criminals will always get the guns, Tavis. Criminals will always
solve the issue is getting the guns. We got to get the guns off our streets. That's how you solve the problem.
Then you have to revoke the Second Amendment, and you're not going to be able to do that.
No, there's a huge gap between repealing the Second Amendment and reasonable gun laws. A huge gap, Bill, and you know that.
Well, I could solve the problem by federalizing gun crimes, but you wouldn't back that because you'd say the sentencing was unfair when the guy with the gun got 20 years.
And I could solve the problem too. Arm every black person in America, and then let's see what the NRA has to say.
All right, Tavis. I mean, that's a little extreme, but we always appreciate you coming on and kicking it around with us. Directly ahead, very controversial.